So you're sick or you're injured and you're out of action. It's time to go from setback to comeback, start the journey. Let's be better than we were before. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening from whenever we are watching this. This is hashtag run for not from week 15, 1-5. We've made it there and we're gonna keep going. If you are new to the channel, hashtag run for not from is about running for your problems and not from them. And on this channel we sort of discuss issues that I might be facing, you might be facing, and we can band together as a community to get through them. And from that little intro, you may have realized that we're going to be talking about sickness, illness and injury, what you can do when you get sick, when you get injured, when you get ill, to sort of help you bounce back better than you were before. And it's really important to note that this is mainly on the mental health side. Physical illness and injury has to be consulted with leading medical professionals. I'm here just mainly for the advice side of what I've done in the past to push through those harder times, you know? And in this week we'll go through a couple of my stories, a couple of things that I like to do, some sort of backed scientific research on injury prevention and recovery. And I hope you can hear me because there's like 1,000,001 cars on the country roads today. I don't really know why. So hope you enjoy, like this video, subscribe and drop a comment. Oh, and before I forget, make sure to stay to the end of the video where we do the hashtag run for not from quote of the week. It's certainly my favorite part of the week, and it's a quote that means something to me. It sometimes requires a little bit of understanding, but it's always linked to the topic of the week. So make sure to stay tuned for that. So let's be honest, getting struck by illness, injury or sickness can really rock your world, and it can leave you frustrated, cross, maybe even a little bit scared for what you'll be able to do in the future and what you can do now. But one thing is, you have to accept the circumstances. You know, acceptance is the first thing you got to do. What are your limitations now, and what can you do to build back up to where you used to be? And that can be really hard to do because the physical pain and distress that you're in can be nothing compared to the mental battle that you're going to face. I'm a massive believer in you have to conquer the mind before you can conquer the body. So accept your circumstances. You may be sick, you may be injured, you may be out, but it doesn't mean you're going to be out forever. Be optimistic and start that comeback journey. What's really important at the early stages as well of that acceptance is don't be pressured by others into staying positive. You don't have to stay positive. Vent, cry, be angry, be frustrated. Know your limitations for now and how you're going to improve in the future. Because here's 3 tips that you got to do when you're down, when you're out, when you're injured, you're sick, you're ill. You need to be a bit compassionate to yourself. Be a friend to yourself. Be someone you would want someone to be to yourself. You know, treat others how you want to be treated, stuff like that. You know, because it's really, really important that you treat yourself as a friend. Secondly, you need to celebrate those small wins, whether that's just getting up in the morning, whether that's going for a little walk, whether that's getting through a bit of a crap day. You really need to celebrate those small wins. And then finally, you've got to talk to people. You've got to get out there. You've got to speak to friends, family, therapists, even physiotherapists. If you're physically injured, then you'll probably be speaking to them already. But it's so important that you've got to vent your frustrations. And I'll go a little bit into sort of my experience with predominantly injury. Illnesses have only been tiny, little sicknesses here and there that you just have to blot out the way and just sort of get out of your mind. But then we're going to go on to one of my injuries that really kept me out for about 2 years, and was sort of the biggest physical adversity I've had to get over. And it really did mess with me in terms of my identity of being a very physically fit person. So we'll go into that now. So A little over 2 years ago now, I injured my left knee playing football. I hyperextended it, running down the right wing and putting it across. I stopped on my left foot and my knee kept going and it went over itself. And my God, did I feel at the time. It felt like I'd been shot right through the left side of my knee. And immediately I knew something was wrong. Couldn't get up, couldn't put any pressure on it, couldn't walk on it. And that was the game over then. And I decided to ice it that day. I could barely drive home. Had to use my right leg for all pedals driving home. And when I saw the physio, it was clear that it wasn't an ACL, but it was LCL and meniscus. And I couldn't extend my leg and I couldn't flex my leg. So I had a small little bit of motion that I could do, and that was it. And I was in an inflammation cycle. And it took about 8 weeks for that inflammation cycle to ease up enough that I could do anything on it again. And then from there, it was just a question of doing box squats and deficit lunges and stuff like that. And it was all just a load of rubbish, really. And had to just build back up from there. And it took a stupidly long time. And it's only really recently that I've been able to do anything. And that time was difficult, man. And the only thing that really got me through was doing stuff that was just about pain-free. I couldn't squat properly, I couldn't lunge properly, deadlifts were out of the question. And it was just a long, arduous process back. And mentally it was super, super tough. I felt my muscle sort of depleting, missing out on football, that sociability aspect. And it just took time and acceptance and understanding I'm not where I want to be and not where I used to be, but there's some work to be done. And thankfully, touch wood, I'm here now. And things that I've implemented since is massively injury prevention, which we could probably do a whole other video on. But my goodness, you got to start young. I know I'm young now, but I wish I started even younger, because you've only got one body and you've got to be kind to yourself. Also, the reason I just sped up there, because technically I've snuck into here today. I had to climb over a fence, and there's a farmer right there giving me the evils. So I've done a bit of a runner. If I get caught, this will probably be used as evidence against me. Oh well. The comeback will not be linear. If you were to plot it on a graph, it will be all over the place. But every step you take is an inch forward, and that helps. That moves you forward, that builds momentum. And there's a few things you need to do for your body to help you recover. And look, it's not rocket science. Fuel your body right, eat the good stuff, get rid of the bad stuff. Motion is lotion. It eases and soothes wounds. Even if you have to move slowly, just get moving. Do something. If the injury's in your foot, move your arms. If the injury's in your arms, move your legs, etc., etc. There's things that you can do. Motion is lotion. Thirdly, rest. Rest is repair. Sleep. We did a whole video about sleep, and I'll put a link in the description for that. But make sure you're resting properly. And then finally, say yes to what fills your cup and say no to what drains you. If that means you're saying no to certain people because you can't do it, you have to say no to them. Don't push your friends away, but if it's not going to better you, take the hard step and don't do it. Say yes to what fills you and no to what drains you. So for all those watching who may be sick, who may be ill, who may be injured, I see you, I hear you, I feel your pain. Your comeback will be greater than ever, because you're not starting again. You're starting up again with experience. And experience is invaluable. Experience only comes with age. It only comes with life events. And experience can be the difference between those who win and those who lose. But I think it's time for the quote of the week. And let's go to Nathan at the ruins for this week's quote. And this week's quote comes from a fictitious character from Little Women, Amy March. And she said, "I am not afraid of the storms, for I am learning to sail my ship." Let me know what you think.